Good morning. I'm just going to briefly explain number 5, the online course tool document. Excuse me. Um, in the list of deliverables. If you go to the 10 steps for building your course outline, number 2, design for online. I have a frog in my throat. We'll go to the online course tool. We have 2 tools here. We have a fillable PDF or a word processing document. If we look at them, the PDF looks like that. It's a little bit intimidating. Also, the problem with PDFs is that when you cut and paste, sometimes the fonts change and formatting change, so you might not want to use that. I, myself, like the Word version. It's a little bit cleaner and simpler. Before we get to the details that lie within, let me just explain a little bit of teaching philosophy here, which will help you in building your modules, I think. And I mentioned it before, it's a community of inquiry framework, which is designed by Dr. Terry Anderson, Professor Emeritus, and former Canadian Research Chair in Distance Education at Athabasca University. It works well to help create deep, meaningful online learning experiences for students and supports a sense of community in online learning environments. So how do you do it? Every module has an equal portion of learners interacting with content, learners interacting with other learners, and learners interacting with faculty. If you can try and get those 3 things into each module, you will make for a deeper learning experience for your students and also a more satisfying experience for yourself, probably. So let me go back to the actual tool for designing or helping you. So here it is, pretty self-explanatory, anchored with course learning outcomes as all our work. We have a list of ideas for learning activities, excuse me, ideas for assessment, the course modules listed, a summary, I guess, and then module detail, which follows. So this is where the guts are. And in order to understand these different sections a little bit better, I'm going to call on Laura Page. Laura, tell us about this Activate Prior Knowledge column here.
So that is something that most faculty members usually do anyway, but we have to be a little more precise when we think about writing it out for the online environment. So if you're teaching somebody a new topic, you wouldn't just delve right into a research paper and start talking about it. You would do something to activate their prior knowledge about it, their prior experience, just kind of get their mind warmed up thinking about the topic. So, for example, I used to teach psychology classes, and when I did a module on personality, I might say, okay, we're going to learn some different personality theories, but first, everyone just think, what is personality? What does it mean to have a certain type of personality? If you switched personalities with someone else, what would that feel like? And so just kind of getting people thinking about a topic, and how you can do that in the online world is you could do what I just showed you, like a thought question, a thought experiment. So you could say, okay, everyone, I want you to imagine that you switched bodies with someone else. So you have the same personality, but in a different body. So what exactly happened? So you could do a little thought experiment like that. Or you could do something like share a quote from a famous thinker, a quote that students might agree with or not agree with. You could take a quick poll. So when we do teaching and learning webinars, sometimes we'll say, how many people have taught an online class before? And people fill in the poll. Or we might say, how many people think teaching an online class will be easier or harder than teaching in person? So what that does, it just kind of warms up your brain, gets you ready. It primes your prior beliefs about something, because most of what we do as teachers is just kind of take students' prior beliefs and move them a little bit further along the road to understanding something. So a newspaper article is good. Yeah, something going on in the news, a quote, thought experiment, quick poll, quick video, just to get them thinking.
And then when we talk about the next column, acquire new knowledge, this is where we're actually getting into the lesson details, whether it be a PowerPoint, reading, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so for acquire new knowledge, you want to come up with just a couple of different ways to share new content with your students. So you might start off with a brief, this is just an idea, but say a brief 10-minute mini lecture. So here are the major thinkers in personality, A, B, C. Then you might show them a quick little article they could read. So you have a video, an article. You might have them look at a couple photographs, maybe listen to a piece of music. Think about what you're trying to teach them and come up with a couple of different ways to deliver that information. And after about 6 or 7 minutes of reading, students should have an opportunity to interact with the material, because we all get kind of bored after a fair amount of reading.
And that would be in the apply knowledge column.
Right. So in apply knowledge, you want to try to show them how to take what you just taught them and use it in the real world. You know, the question teachers are often asked, why do I have to know this? Or where am I going to be applying this? So if it's, for example, some math that you're teaching, you want to say, for instance, in the real world, you would use it here. So in a creative field, you might say, now that you've learned these, say, 3 or 4 tenets of photography, I want you to go take a couple of pictures, post them back, and let's look at them. So they're applying their knowledge to something.
Right. And that's where you would, and that's where you as the faculty member would interact with the learners, the third one in that list of that framework that I mentioned earlier on in this video.
Great.
And what's it called again, that framework? I forgot.
I know, there's a framework.
Anyway. Anyway, and then we have assess learning, which we know about, but you can go to Laura Page. Anyway, this is just a little drop-in by Laura to show you that if you have any questions about this stuff, please reach out to her. It's as simple as a phone call on Teams. Thank you, Laura Page. My pleasure. Thanks, Laura. And what's left now is assessment. So how are we going to assess the learning? Could be self-assessment, as in journaling. Could be quizzes. Could be presentation. We have the learning outcomes from that module and any resources that you might have for that module. So that's it. This is a really important part of this design process. Writing down all the things that you're going to need in order to fulfill the module's goals and teaching your students. Anyway, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.